Come on and shine, shine, shine. Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight with your award-winning host, Dale Davidson. Dale interviews fascinating guests from top-ranked celebrities to people just like you who have an important story to tell. For more than 15 years, Dale has broadcast every week from the fabulous Las Vegas Strip. He finds the people who really make Las Vegas a one-of-a-kind city and lets the world know just what's happening in this remarkable town. You'll discover why 50 million people visit the entertainment capital of the world every year. Stay tuned for another exciting episode of Las Vegas Tonight.
Welcome to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. Thank you so much for tuning in. Believe me, you're going to be glad you did. I've got a couple of terrific gentlemen here with me today, and we're going to talk about the Knights Templar. And you're going to find out all about this wonderful organization and the fine work they're doing in the Holy Land and around the world. We've got a couple of the big hoorahs. That's what we've decided to call you guys, the grand hoorahs. And we have Bud McLeroy, who's right here, yes. And we have Don McNamara, the two Macs, just by coincidence, who are both way high up in that organization and have done a great deal and have had really interesting lives. Thanks for coming, gentlemen. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
Dale. I appreciate it. Coming all the way to Las Vegas, just for us. We appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit about you guys first before we talk about the organization. I've been just wowed by your bios. You guys have had lives. Bud, let me start with you.
Okay.
A command sergeant major?
Yes.
In the U.S. Army?
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about your background there.
Well, I started out my military career in the Marine Corps for 6 years.
Okay.
And then I joined the Army. So I went started out as a private in the Marine Corps, made it to sergeant.
Right.
When I got out of the Marine Corps and joined the Army Reserves, they made me a private, and I made it to sergeant. And then I joined the active Army,
right.
And they made me a private, and I made it to command sergeant major. And so
you got to start over three times.
I did, and I still made it all the way up. But
what
I spent 33 and a half years in. I wanted to do 40, but unfortunately, I got wounded in a firefight in Iraq, and which eventually gave me spinal cord damage and partially paralyzed. And so I spent 1 year and 8 months in the hospital.
Wow.
And then they medically boarded me out. But I had a good career. I mean,
That's a long time, and thank you for your service, by the way.
I did engineers in the Marine Corps, infantry in the Army, and then I was Army Special Ops. So.
Wow. Special Ops is no joke.
Well, we joke around, but yeah, I guess. We like doing our job.
Yeah.
And I tell people, everybody in the military has a job.
Yeah.
No one person is more important than another. So for me, I like cooks in the military because I like to eat.
Yes.
And then I like supply guys because I like getting my equipment. And finance, I love getting paid. So there is no one job that's more important. It takes a team to succeed and fulfill a mission.
Oh, that's wonderful. And aside from all of that, you were a stunt man?
Yeah.
You made movies?
Somebody approached me one time after they found out I lost my leg, and they said, how would you like to join Stuntsability? And we're a stuntman's organization. They're all disabled people. And I said, sure. And so I just went out and started doing that, get shot up. And it was funny, one time there was a gentleman from England that came over.
Right.
And they're shooting a segment, and it was a Western segment. We had our guns on, and I'm going to shoot him, and he's going to shoot me. And I looked at the cameraman down on the ground, and I says, you're too close. And he goes, no, I'm okay. I've done this before. I says, look at when he shoots me and my squib blasts open, you're going to get covered. And he goes, no, I'm okay. Okay.
Sure enough,
man, he was covered. And I said, okay. But then I've fallen off buildings, been set on fire from head to toe, had my leg shot off, and scared a lot of people. So but I have a good time with it.
I'll bet that's right. And you race cars too.
I did. That's how I lost my leg. I did the Baja stuff. So in Vegas, you guys know about it because I've raced out of Vegas.
Right.
It was during a race. I was halfway through it, and my car broke down. I pulled off to the side, and I started working on the engine at the rear end of the vehicle.
Right.
And a couple cars went by me, and I waved at them. Well, the dust goes up, and the next car went into the dust, and I was standing at the back of my vehicle when he hit me going over 90.
Oh.
So I tell everybody I turned into Superman that day because I got to fly over 50 feet, and I hit the ground. But I'm sure you've heard of the expression, you don't have a leg to stand on. Well, that was kind of me that day. I didn't know that with the damage, so I got to my knees and I tried to stand up. That wasn't working. I never got knocked out. And the guy in the car who hit me, he was a good friend of mine, comes over and pushes me down and says, "You can't get up." I says, "No, I need to get to my vehicle." He says, "You can't get up." And I says, "Come on, I got to get out of here." And he goes, "You can't get up." And his face went white. And I looked down and I says, "You know, you're right. So you better make sure I don't get run over twice in one day." So my leg was almost all ripped off, but I rewrapped it, put my tourniquet on, got on the radio, called for medevac to pick myself up, and told some jokes until they got there.
You're a hero.
No,
you really are.
I'm just a simple guy. That's it.
And so you're doing a lot of Paralympic stuff now.
Yes.
With the Paralympics.
Yeah. So back in 2000, I started throwing the javelin, and by the end of 2002, the end of 2002, because I went to Iraq in 2003.
Yeah.
I was ranked 8th in the world on the para side throwing the javelin.
That's fabulous.
And so I was a world-class athlete. But then I wound up going to Iraq. Getting activated. I went to Iraq, and I got wounded in a firefight there, carrying other wounded people out. And it just happened to be that husband and wife walked in front of our compound. The insurgents shot at us. We shot back. They were in the middle, and so they got shot up. My boss was up on top of the building. He's running down. I'm inside of a building because the infantry guys are out front, and he says, "Get your medic bag. We got wounded." And I said, "Okay." So I ran outside, grabbed my medic bag, and ran to the front gate, thinking it was infantry guys.
Right.
Husband and wife there. So she got shot in the jaw, in the face, and one in the abdomen area, and then he got shot through the legs. So I stood out there during the firefight, just helping him out, just patching him up and stuff like that. And you could still see the bullets skipping around us and everything. And,
oh, jeez.
But I noticed that when she was moving around and struggling a little bit, she had a necklace on and a little cross came out. And I just put my hand on her and I just, "Don't worry about it. Everything will be all right." So we patched her up, we patched him up, but we didn't have a way to get him to the hospital. But there was a vehicle about 50 yards down the road, 50, 60.
Yeah.
So picked him up, carried him past our lines all the way down, and started putting him in the vehicle, and something happened, a concussion or something, but it took me off my feet. Well, I had somebody in my arms, and I went all the way back and landed on the ground. They landed on me, and it busted my stomach open. And so I got them in the vehicle, went back. I noticed that my intestines were starting to come out. So I just wiggled them back in and bandaged myself up and stayed out another month. I didn't want to leave my guys. I'm in charge,
I understand, yeah.
So it was okay. You know, I got to help people. You know, it's almost like, what would Christ do? Would he just give up and say, "Oh, you know, I'm not going to do it"? No, you have to do things like this.
You do.
And it didn't matter. You know, my dad, before I left to go to Iraq, gave me a blessing, and he said, "Look, you'll be okay. You'll come home to us." So I knew that no matter what happened, I'd still be coming home.
Yes.
So I just said okay, and you know, left it in God's hand. You know, flew home. They fixed my stomach. They missed my spinal cord damage. So through the years, I slowly became paralyzed, but
I look like you're doing okay.
Continued the mission. Well, I'm hanging in there, I guess. It's what I can do. But you know, at this time, I wanted to give you something.
What's that?
Well, I don't know. What do you think it is? You ever seen those before?
It's a medal.
That's a challenge coin. Do you know what challenge coins are?
No.
Go to a bar, you'll find out. No, in the military, you know, different people have coins.
Oh,
Mine's
yeah.
a Command Sergeant Major coin.
That's wonderful.
But
that's what this is?
yes, that's my
Command.
personal one. It has my name around the outside of
is.
it. It shows you the castle. That stands for engineers.
Oh, okay.
And then the cross rifles is
Oh, I
infantry.
see.
The one
Is
on the top
infantry. I know about
is
that,
special
yeah.
ops. And then
Yeah.
it has my
Beautiful.
it has my rank on there. It has my name on there. So
I see. And then
we
on the
say they're
back-
awarded for excellence.
Yeah.
And on the back of it,
It is.
on the
Yeah.
back is all the units I was attached to or
That's a
worked
lot.
with in 33 and a half years.
Well, thank you so much
Yeah,
for the
no
gift.
problem. It's
I appreciate
all
it.
about you.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Well, thank you, sir. Let's turn to Don, and now that'll be hard to follow, Don. But
I'm not
let's
even
turn
going
to
to
you.
try.
Tell us a little bit about you. Where'd you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Syracuse, New York.
I know where that is.
You know then also why I left. It was not uncommon for us to get 180 or more inches a year.
Yes. Yes.
Constant overcast,
Yes.
constant no sunshine.
Yes.
And you wonder why I moved to the West Coast, right?
Yeah. Upstate New York is beautiful. Though,
It's
in the
beautiful.
fall.
Well, there's only three seasons there. You know?
Yeah.
July, August, and winter.
Yeah.
So anyway, I grew up there. I went to college there.
Right.
I have Bachelor of Science degree, but it was in general business. And what's one going to do with a general business degree, right?
Right. Right.
So I looked around and I said, I'm not an engineer. I don't have that technical skill.
Right.
What can I do? Where can I apply what I know and make a career of it, make a life for myself?
Sure.
And I ended up by fortune, and I do believe that's one of the ways the Holy Spirit jumped into my life.
Right.
I ended up interviewing with a fellow who was just becoming the branch manager of a technology company. So I went to work for them.
Okay.
And the reason I chose them was because he allowed me to come to work for them for a few months before I had to go to active duty. Because this was during the Vietnam years.
Right.
I had just graduated from college. Monday morning I got a letter, Uncle Sam needs you.
Yes.
2 months prior to that, I had gotten into a National Guard unit.
Okay.
So I had to go away, obviously, for active duty and get specialized training after that. And then I came back to Syracuse and spent the next 6 years serving in the guard capacities. In the Vietnam years, rank, in other words, promotions, generally speaking, were given to the active duty personnel.
Right. Right.
But I think my guard unit recognized something in me which I didn't see. So by the 5th year, they promoted me to an E5 sergeant, which meant that I had supervisory over other
That's up
group.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was kind of an interesting thing, because one of the things we did, we were a scout platoon, which means basically we had jeeps.
Yes.
So while everybody's in the armory drilling, running up and down, swabbing floors, cleaning things, we're out in jeeps collecting water samples for fluid runoff from the farmers' fields.
Really? Okay.
That was the birth of the Environmental Protection Agency.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they had asked, the EPA had asked the various guard units to collect water samples from these farmers' fields, because they want to understand what the effect that was having on the groundwater supply.
Ah, okay.
So here we go out.
That's an important thing. Yeah.
Well, we thought of it as a lark, frankly. But we'd go out, we'd collect the water, but the rest of the time was ours.
Wow.
So we would do what you would do if you had idle time on your hand. You go to a coffee shop and you drink coffee. You stay out of mischief. You don't create problems. You come back to the armory and everybody's happy.
Yes.
And but it was a wonderful, fun experience for me, because I got to see military duty in a different way.
Yeah.
And up to that point, I saw it as sleeping in wet sleeping bags at summer camp. Up to that point.
Yes.
So it was kind of fun. But after college, I got married, and I had 2 children there in Syracuse. And by the age of 30, I kind of got dry here. Dry behind the ears. You ever hear that term?
Yeah.
And I said, there's a better way. And at that point, I decided I was going to look around and find out where I should really end up living.
All right.
And I was on the promotion list with the company I was with. I knew it. They told me so. And I knew where the next promotion was. It was Detroit, Michigan.
Right.
And I'd been to Detroit.
Yeah.
And it was more of what I lived in.
Yeah.
And so I looked at
I grew up in Cleveland, so I know what you're saying.
You can appreciate it.
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
So I decided if I've got to move to get ahead in the world, why do I want to take what they tell me I've got to do, whereas I feel like I should be able to have some control over my own destiny.
Yeah.
And I looked around. I did a lot of research in libraries in that period of time because it was not before the internet and the web, and you could do all that stuff instantly.
Yeah.
And I figured out where growth was going to be, not just in the marketplace that I was in technology, but also where I could raise my family and they'd never have to move.
Yes.
And that's what happened.
And where did you end up?
In Lake Forest, California.
I know exactly where that is.
And at that time, Lake Forest was just getting developed, and we were one of the early ones in.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So my kids went to school there, and I advanced my career through there, and everybody was happy. And I live in Laguna Niguel now.
Oh, okay. Poor baby.
But somebody has to do it.
Nice place to be from. Yeah.
We're very
and
happy.
Lake Forest is a very nice community.
They're both very nice communities, and I frankly enjoy Southern California. I really, really do. It's got everything I would ever want.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and the weather is beautiful. And when you were talking about Syracuse and environs, I just remembered I had fond summer memories. We used to go up to Lake Oneida.
Not very far from where I lived.
Yeah.
That's called Clay.
Oh,
the village
okay.
of Clay. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Beautiful little community, and I think it still is, as far as I know.
As far as it is, it will always stay the same. That part of the world doesn't change very much, and very fast either.
Yeah, yeah. The New England and the Northeast is like that. You know, people stay for a long, long time, and I got away too. You know, but a lot of people never do.
My mom was still living in Syracuse when I decided to move to the West Coast. She said, "Why are you moving away?" I said, "Mom, just because I was born here doesn't mean where I have to live the rest of my life."
That's right. Nobody's holding a gun to your head.
She said, "But you're so far away." I said, "Mom, that's what airplanes are for." And that ended that discussion.
There you go. That's great. We need to take a brief break, gentlemen. We're going to be talking about some really fascinating things, and you'll learn all about an organization that goes back centuries. And they've been doing good work ever since. We'll be back with a couple of grand hoo-has from the Knights Templar right after this. The Lord has made it possible for our show, Las Vegas Tonight, to thrive. We've produced well over 300 episodes telling the remarkable stories of Christians who have set out to change the world for the better. It's my honor to lead this ministry. As the founder of DaleDavidson Ministries, I'm commanded to be a good steward of all the donations our partners have so generously provided to us. As you can imagine, it takes a great deal of money to keep this program on the air in the United States and around the world. Please, prayerfully consider making a one-time donation or becoming a monthly partner of DaleDavidson Ministries. Just go to vegassaints.org and select Make a Donation, or send your check or money order made out to DaleDavidson Ministries, 9030 West Sahara Avenue, number 255, Las Vegas, Nevada 89117. For more information, call 702-480-3989. Thank you, and God bless you. Welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. We should tape the what goes on during the breaks. We have the most fun then. But I think we'll have some more now. These gentlemen are really fascinating guys, and we were talking with Don when we needed to take a brief break. And Don, I wanted to follow up a little bit with you. Tell us a little bit about your decision to join the Knights Templar.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. I got to a point in my life where it was around the age of 52, 53.
Right.
I felt this compelling need to give back.
Yeah.
And so I pursued a bunch of volunteer work with different organizations, and they always left me lacking. There was not enough substance there that made me feel whole in doing those things.
That's good. I feel that.
And then I refer to the Holy Spirit because at a luncheon that my wife belongs to, a group of females, they all have this get-together around the holiday period. And she had been approached about being a female knight at what we've referred to as a dame. And she didn't think it was for her. But something struck me in the period between when she said that and that holiday luncheon. I wanted to sit next to the then prior and ask him about the Knights Templar. And then he almost fell off his chair.
And the prior's like a chapter president, kind of?
That's correct.
Okay.
And then we talked some more, and it never been on my bucket list to go to Holy Land. But all of a sudden it jumped up to number one. And that's, since then, that was in 2016, and since I've been very active involved in the functionality of the Priory of Our Savior in Los Angeles. And I enjoy it because I not only know I'm giving back, I know there's something very important is happening because of my efforts. Not that I want to take the credit for it.
I understand.
But just to know that it's being functioned, and right now I currently serve in two capacities, one of which is a treasurer. So I watch every nickel and this guy can tell you, I watch every nickel and dime because I functioned as a treasurer under Bud when he was president, the prior.
Tell me some history, which is substantial. These essentially were the Crusaders, right?
Well, they were called that. But they weren't really. They were really the Knights Templar. Okay. But what their function was to protect Christians traveling to the Holy Land, almost always from Europe and all parts of Europe.
And they would land up from the ship.
That's correct.
And they would walk, or however
they would travel whatever way they could. And they were being accosted and robbed and probably beaten and tortured by thieves, robbers. And the then king of Jerusalem was a King Baldwin. That was about this whole concept of protecting Christians at risk coming to the Holy Land started at about 1116, but by 1119, the Knights Templar became formalized. And it was based on Baldwin's work. Those early protectors were not called Knights Templar until 1119, when they became more formally organized. So, and from that, of course, it grew. The Templars were noted as the guys with the white mantle, with the red cross on it.
With the red cross on it, yeah, I've seen pictures.
But the real Crusaders were the pilgrims.
And
they were just the protectors of the pilgrims.
Bud, let me turn to you and let's talk a little bit about the specific history of not only the Knights Templar, but Jerusalem, which obviously goes back centuries.
Well, the Knights Templar, in my case, hits home. I have a grandfather so many generations back, Sir William Marshall. He was the only knight to serve under 5 different kings of England. And he was a Templar. And his 2 sons became Templars. And he went on the Crusades with Richard the Lionheart. But I'm a direct descendant of his. But like Don would say, they were protectors of the common man who wanted to make a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. And that was good because, look, they're Christian, they want to go to the Holy Land, they need somebody to protect them against robbers and thieves and stuff like that, so that's what they did. They protected them. And then as time went on, and it got into the modern day Templars, like the organization we belong to, what we do is we actually help out the Holy Land, restoring holy sites. We put our money into restoring holy sites, doing pilgrimages for modern day Templars to go around and visit all the things in the Holy Land. And then we help out the children that are over there that need to go to school, be it high school, middle school, college, that can't afford it. And so we actually donate our money to let them do it. But our big function is helping Christians at risk. And they're all over, but it goes back from, think about the old Templars. What were they doing? They were helping Christians at risk from going to the Holy Land to do their pilgrimage. So as the old day Templars, like my grandfather, To the modern day Templars like I am and like Don is, we believe in helping Christians at risk throughout the world, but we also believe in doing our fair share within the Holy Land to protect the sites that are there for the Christians to actually go visit.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that.
In fact, if I may, I'd like to read from the back of my Templar business card.
Sure, please do.
This is who we are.
Okay.
The Sovereign Military Order of the Temple of Jerusalem is an ecumenical, which means that we're open to any Christian, right? Any Christian denomination, it doesn't matter. Autonomous and independent organization incorporated in the United States, which seeks to emulate the chivalric and charity traditions of the original Templars. We apply ourselves energetically and selflessly to Christian order of knighthood dedicated to, 1, seeking God in our lives and promoting love and respect for our community. 2, increasing understanding among religions. We are actually bridge builders. Helping pilgrims visit holy places and maintaining a Christian presence in the Holy Land. 3, supporting the sick, poor, and unjustly accused, standing against oppression and persecution, and protecting freedom of speech. Finally, encouraging the noble ideals of chivalry. And that was one of the things that personally attracted me, is that this is very
chivalrous.
Very much so.
Yeah.
We maintain the monuments, as Bud said, archives and history of the Knights Templar. And in 2019, I was in Germany and found out the tremendous influence the Germans had in Germany. And it was amazing to me that it was almost like this hidden jewel was sitting in this little village. And in 2021, I was asked to come back and speak at Basilica. It was one of the original churches that those going on pilgrimage were actually there. Knights were actually there being knighted inside that church. It was a tremendous experience for me.
And so the Knights Templar came from all over Europe?
Oh, for the most part, yes.
And now it's international?
Yes, because we're in over 23 countries now.
Oh, okay.
So we are spread out. But each country has their own Grand Priory. So we have the Grand Priory of the United States. And then
that's the organization's name.
In the United States. So we are the Sovereign Military Order of the Temple of Jerusalem in the United States.
I gotcha.
And then we are also members on the United Nations. So we are a non-voting member
of the UN.
But we have people there that give counsel to other countries on how to handle the Christians and to help out with keeping the Christians safe throughout the world. So it's kind of a twofold. Each country has their own, but we fall under the United Nations one, which is OSMTH, and then ours is SMOTH, but we all fall under the United Nations one.
We're the only non-governmental organization, NGO, that has a seat at the table at the UN.
I didn't know that.
We don't have diplomatic status, but believe me, they count on us when such things as difficulties arise in the Middle East.
Oh, yeah. And all over the world, because if you look at it, Christians are at risk in nations everywhere.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
So I've had friends of mine that have been in our priory, have gone to like northern Iraq to help out the Christians up there, and to go to different locations around the world to help out Christians. When I was all over the world in my military time, I believed in helping Christians. I mean, it was just the Christian thing to do. We're all God's children. And we need to understand that. So, you know, He loves us all, and we should help take care of us all, no matter what. And so, no matter what country I've ever been into, I tried to live myself and to put forth a Christ-like life, even in the military. I mean, there's battles going on, but you still have to think about the people that you're serving and stuff.
You know, it's your organization. One of the reasons I really respect it is the fact that people will say about Christians, well, you know, what do you people actually do? You know what I mean? It's like, you believe this, and okay, that's fine, but why would I want to become a Christian if I want to help people? Well, this is clearly, your call to arms, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good way to say it. I think that we can say we can be wannabe Christians, or we can be really walking the talk.
That's the point. Yeah, that indeed is the point, and I think that's a very valid approach to take. How large is the organization, or is that tip-top secret?
Well, you probably have a closer
Well, within the United States, we have thousands.
Oh, okay.
We have thousands within the United States. Like we said, the organizational standard, I mean, anybody can go on smotj.org and look it up.
smotj.org.
Okay. Yeah. And it will tell you the priories in the states that we have priories.
Okay. And that's like a metropolitan area?
Yeah.
Generally.
So I was the prior for the Priory of Our Savior out of San Gabriel, California.
Okay.
And then, we have a priory within, it's kind of Riverside area type of thing, the Priory of the Christian Soldier, and then we have the Priory of the Christian Shield in San Diego, Priory of the Light in Phoenix. So we have all these priories throughout the United States, which are smaller organizations, but we all fall under the Grand Prior of the United States.
Okay.
And
that moves around, that job moves around?
Yes, so like every 2 to 3 years, they will have a new Grand Prior. Just like my job is the prior, every 2 to 3 years, they change us up. So we have a change of command.
Okay.
And then I turn the reins over to somebody else.
Yeah.
So
when I was reading what Princess Anne-Marie sent me on what you guys do, you have a convention of some kind. Tell me about that. A national.
Well, every year we have what they call a grand CNI.
Okay.
So our locals.
CNI, but forgive me for interrupting. That means convent and investiture.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So our local, like my priory, would have a CNI every year.
Oh, okay.
But at the national level, they have a grand CNI, and we don't do it in the same time as us. They do it at a different time.
Okay.
But the grand CNI is when all the priories, whoever wants to attend can show up. They will knight people there. So whoever needs somebody to be knighted, they can have them being knighted there. And that's where we get up-to-date information on what's going on with OSMTH at the UN level, and then the US level. They talk about pilgrimages and when it's going to be, and they try and get people to go. But it is kind of like a convention, but we have a lot more business that we do in trying to help and giving ideas, passing information and ideas of how we can better serve and help out Christians at risk.
And it sounds like a good time of brotherhood and sisterhood,
Well, it is. And it's amazing when you see people you haven't seen in a year, and you see them again. Oh, yeah. What was your name?
I remember you. I can't exactly put the face and the name together, but
it is fun, and we have a lot of fun, and there's a lot of camaraderie. Very strong camaraderie at these, because you have some folks that have been around forever, since the national organization was founded, and then you have younger people, like last year at our local convent investiture, which we held in San Gabriel. We had people that were in their late 20s, early 30s. So just because the gray hair here, that doesn't mean that we're old fogies. Far from it.
That's it. And I want to talk to you about that too, because I've seen, particularly with charitable organizations, there's kind of your report from the last CNI talked about the aging of the membership, and I've seen this in organizations everywhere. But we need to tackle that. In the next break, we're going to take a brief break, and we're going to be back with a couple of fascinating guys and talk more about the Knights Templar. And I'm going to turn the show over to him at the end, and who knows what will happen then. We'll be back right after this. Hi, I'm Dale Davidson, host of Las Vegas Tonight. You know, radio has an enduring place in the heart of America. Sometimes it's music that can enliven your spirit or keep you company when you need some. More often for me, it's just been the right spoken word or two that can quiet my mind and soul. Radio brings me a reassuring word in the quiet of night or a welcoming voice early in the morning as I shake off the night's sleep and find my way into God's purpose for my day. And always, I find the best radio station is the one that brings me the best news, the gospel of Jesus Christ. My favorite radio station is KKVV in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's still right where it's been for years, at 1060 on the AM dial, hovering over Sin City like a gospel airship, broadcasting the good news of the abounding love that Jesus Christ has for every single one of us. No matter who you are or where you live, you can receive God's Word via the KKVV Gospel Airship. Just go to kkvv.com and click on Listen Live. KKVV is using all the tools that God's provided them, like podcasting and video streaming and video on demand, to produce programs that lift up our fellow believers and save the lost. If you feel a calling to speak to others about Jesus Christ on your very own show, pick up the phone and call the station. They'll be happy to tell you how. Call KKVV today at 702-731-5588 or drop them an email at kkvvradio@hotmail.com. Please join me in becoming part of the KKVV family. You'll be glad you did. And welcome back to Las Vegas Tonight. I'm your host, Dale Davidson. A couple of fascinating guys, and we're talking about the Knights Templar. What a great organization, and what a great topic. You know, I knew nothing about them when I interviewed Princess Anne Marie. She gave us pictures, you know, when she was invested, or whatever you guys call it. And I went, well, tell me more about this. And then so she's helped, you know, arrange all of this, along with our producer, who, Terry Arnold, is great. So we thank everyone who was associated with getting you guys on. During the break, Don, we were talking about the Middle East, and without getting into the religious conflicts that are going on, because I don't think any of us can add to that topic. No. You did talk about reconciliation, which I found to be fascinating. Do you mind repeating that?
Sure. We have a member of our priory who is he was our chaplain. Now he's chaplain emeritus because he's retired from his active ministry as in charge of his church. So now full time, he does a seminar in the Middle East on reconciliation. And what's important about this in my mind, and I think I speak universally here, is that if you could get people talking together, you can get the various factions that have disagreements over things, you can get them talking. Generally speaking, you can find common ground.
Yes, yes.
And that's what he does. And he holds these seminars with groups, Arabs and Jewish people and Christians, and getting them together. And so the Templars, he's the embodiment of what I call the bridge builder. Because his seminars on reconciliation help that communications, that dialogue, okay? And that's pretty significant stuff when you can get people talking to each other and they realize that we're all humans. We're all part of this environment, we're all part of this world, and we have to learn to live with each other and be much more open-minded and accepting of those that don't believe in the same things we do.
Well, it's like I said in the beginning, we're all children of God.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you stand everybody up side by side, what do they all have in common? Well, they're all children of God. Yes. So, who cares what their background is? They're all children of God. So that's why, as SMOTJ and being a Templar, we're there to help children of God. And we can't see black, white, whatever color. We don't see what countries. We don't see this. We see children of God, and that's why we go out and help everybody. And that's a big function for us, is helping everybody.
Oh,
that's the rule of chivalry. If you look at what chivalry is in its most basic form, it's a moral and social concept that helps people in risk, people that are under duress, okay? And sick and poor. It's so fundamental, and it started around the year 1116, 1120. So it's not a new concept. It's actually an old concept, but what we want to do is actually function in that fashion as Templars.
I think people will be surprised to know that, because, you know, our just basic knowledge is King Arthur and the Round Table and what chivalry meant, and that was all, you know, fiction. But the fact that there really were knights who did this sort of work, you know, in the 1100s is pretty amazing. Let's talk a little bit about the modern day Knights Templar and the aging of the organization. As I mentioned, I've seen, and my wife's been in a lot of organizations as well, where they're having trouble bringing in young people. Why do you think that is to start with? Is that purely a generational thing, that they're not interested in joining organizations anymore?
If you want my opinion,
yeah,
it's too much of this.
Yeah.
Okay. That generation
social media and
stuff. They've gotten so accustomed to that. That's the way they communicate with things. And it's hard for them to establish the fact that they are not the only person in the world who wants to hear a message from them, okay? And you're right. All organizations, our own research says that, are having a hard time getting that generation in.
Yes.
Now, I happen to be a member of the National Marketing Committee for the Knights Templar. And so we've examined that problem, believe me, chapter and verse. And we recognize that a different approach has to be taken there. And so we're starting to use social media as a method to get our message out.
Oh, yeah.
Because in my opinion,
wrong with that.
I think we're the best kept secret in the world.
Yeah.
It is a media thing. Communication. Communication is vital, because before it was just, word of mouth. But the message needs to get out about who we are, what we represent. I went up to a friend of mine who's in his 20s, and I asked him about my website that I have for my priory, and he got really fascinated. He asked more and more and more, and next thing he goes, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it. So we brought him in. He became a knight. And then next thing you know, somebody else came into his office when we were doing something. Now he wants to become a... It's how you approach people. It's your target audience. You know, you're in the media. You have a target audience. You're out there. Demographics are everything.
Yes.
But the demographics now need to be to the younger kids, letting them know, you know, the importance of what we do and how we do it.
And that they can have real meaning in their life, okay? When they can see what we do, and they see classic examples of it, like why we're here in Las Vegas in the first place this weekend.
I want to talk about
then
that
when they can they can see it, because they are touchy-feely people, okay? They want to be able to touch it and see it and feel it. And then when they see that, I think they can say, wow, I've never heard of an organization that does this. It's like this. So that's a really big part of it.
I think you guys are doing the right thing, you know, by being on this show, and you can use it. You can use our link for anything you want to use it for. But I think publicity is going to help you.
Yes. I
was talking to a friend of mine about this interview yesterday during our prayer time. We pray every evening. And he said, they're highly secretive, aren't they? And I said, I don't think so.
No, far from it.
You know?
We don't have a secret handshake. Okay.
Yeah, so that's a misconception that probably a lot of people have.
Of course.
Let's talk about what you're doing in Vegas.
Well, in Vegas, when I was a prior, like I said, you know, I believe in helping Christians wherever and stuff like this. We're all God's children. So one of the people that was in my priory, a good friend of mine, he has an organization. It's called ARC, Association for Recovery of Children. What did Christ say when he was here upon the earth? Suffer the little children to come unto me, right? So he wanted to take care of the little kids. So ARC, what they do is they go out nationally and internationally, rescue kids who have been sexually trafficked or abused or stolen or stuff like this. And that's what he does. And I looked at him and he goes, you know, bud, I'm glad you're the prior. We're not a social club. We are an organization that goes out and does things. And so we started working with him in getting the children saved, getting the kids out of the bad guys' hands and to be saved for us.
Good for you. Good for you.
And so here with Princess Anne Marie, she found an organization that's here that handles those kids for recovery and stuff like this.
Right.
I felt it deep in my heart that I says, you know, we are knights and we are supposed to be chivalric and brave and all this stuff. I says, these kids are the ones that are brave.
Yeah.
I says, so I made up a certificate that shows what they did and honors their bravery and everything, and says they're doing this as a Knights Templar would, as a real knight would. This is what they're doing.
Right.
And so we came up with a really nice certificate. We came up with a little medal. It's almost like a military medal, except it's a medal for them.
Right.
And we'll present them with their certificate with their name on it, signed by Princess Anne Marie, signed by myself as Prior Number 12.
Right.
And we can tell them, you're brave. Here you go. And here's this medal you can wear. Because suffer the kids to come unto me.
Wow.
And this is the importance of it. And that's what we're doing here, is to go out and honor these children. Be it that they're super young to late teens or early 20s.
Right.
We need them to know that people care. And we love them. And we care about them. And we'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is we all know,
Yeah.
you don't know how you affect the lives of other people.
You don't? No.
You can hope to. And if I know in my heart that there will be a significant response by at least one or two of those children we're honoring tomorrow,
Oh, yeah.
that will definitely point them in a direction in their lives which will get them out of some of the trauma and misery that they may have experienced previously.
Yeah.
And just seeing the hope in their eyes, and we can read their faces, and we'll know, and that alone is a
That's
great
wonderful.
feeling.
And we'll mention the organization if that's okay. It's
Sure.
St. Jude's Ranch, which I'm familiar with, and they've been doing great work for a long time here.
Right.
And rescuing children.
So, and I actually have a couple people flying in from Texas.
Oh, wow.
And a night and a dame. I brought him in the organization. He was my commanding officer in Iraq when I got wounded.
Is that right? That's
yeah,
great.
but very Christian orientated. But he was a police officer in Riverside County.
Right.
And he handled sex crimes. That was his big thing. And his wife is a counselor. She's getting her PhD and stuff like that,
Right.
but at master's. And so that's what they work with. And he's now a counselor because he's retired. And they're actually from Texas, and they're flying in strictly to go to this ranch because that's who they work with nowadays.
Yeah.
Are kids and adults that have had all this trauma. So I really want to introduce them to the ranch and what goes on there.
That's great.
It's spreading the word. It's
Yes.
it's that handshake you need, that loving handshake to say there's more people out here that care.
Yeah.
And we care.
There's a lot more people that care than don't.
Yes.
Okay, and
Yes.
I think we don't do heavy publicity. We're not big advertisers. Okay, we kind of fly a little bit underneath the radar.
Yeah.
But we certainly aren't secretive.
Yeah.
And we're open-armed. I mean, if you're an ecumenical organization, that's about as open as you can be for a Christian.
Right.
Okay.
That's right. And speaking of Christians, we've only got about 3 or 4 minutes left, gentlemen. I'm going to call on you each, if you don't mind. That's your camera right there. If you would address the audience.
Okay.
Want to start with you?
Okay.
Okay, Don.
One of the things I was asked while we were getting ready to do this interview was, how do I keep Christ in my life? And I had to really think about that for a second. And then I realized that I carry around a coin in my pocket. This happens to be not a challenge coin, but actually the coin of the Priory of Our Savior. And every time I reach my hand in my pocket,
You feel it.
I feel this coin. And I say, am I leading the life that Jesus would have wanted me to live? And that's how I keep Christ in my life.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Don.
Well, when it comes to me,
Yeah.
so like I explained to you during a break, when I was young, I started out as a missionary. I did missionary work. And even before that, my family always would go to church. And, it's always been important for me I've seen so much in my life in so many different countries. I've seen the death and destruction. And all I want to do is help. And I knew, or I know, that God looks down on all of us. And He only wants the best for us. And He wants the best for everybody that's watching this. He wants you to know that you're loved. And because of that, I know I'm loved. And I know I need to spread that love to everybody else. So whatever it takes for me, in whatever circumstance, I mean, I was being shot at and I knew those people needed help, I would help. Because that's what Christ would do. Christ would go out and into any circumstance and to try to help the people that were in danger. And, you know, when I was an Army reservist, I was a full-time fireman. So I'd go out and help people that were in burning buildings and car accidents, stuff like this. And I didn't have qualifying marks. I didn't say, are you this or that? I just knew that they're God's children and they needed help. And that's what I dedicate my life to, is to go up and do this. The glory's not mine. It really isn't. I mean, everybody can say, you're a hero, you're this. No, I'm not. I'm one of God's children. And if not for God, I couldn't do the things that I've been able to, rescuing people, just saving different stuff, being able to be the leader over the priory, to starting different things where we can go out and honor children. It's not about me. It's never been about me. I don't sit there and say, hey, guess what? Get my name right. No. Don't even use my name, please. It's the service. When you're only in the service of your fellow man, you're only in the service of your God.
Wow.
It's not about us, it's about other people.
Well said, and well done, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You're both God's children and also heroes. Bud McLeroy,
Thank you.
Don McNamara, thanks for coming on the show.
Our pleasure.
Appreciate it
Thanks
so
for
much.
having us.
A couple of great guests. We really are thrilled that they were here on Las Vegas Tonight. We encourage you to look into the Knights Templar. If you're a young guy or gal and you want to help people, I'm sure they'd love to hear from you.
We would.
And we'll do everything we can to help that. And as I try to remember to say each and every episode of Las Vegas Tonight, when it comes to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, please walk with Him. God bless you.
Sing their glory in a sweet lullaby as the trees reach out to touch the sun. The wind shapes the clouds that are rolling by as the world gives way to a life begun. The seasons change and life is what it brings, showing beauty that surrounds us all and gives us a reason and a song to sing. When we listen with our hearts, we'll hear the call. This is heaven on earth. Heaven on earth. When we see a true
Shine, 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 Las Vegas, shine your light on me.
You've been watching Las Vegas Tonight with your host, Dale Davidson. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of our show. We so appreciate your loyalty to our program. To keep Las Vegas Tonight on the air, please go to our website, vegassaints.org, and click the Donate button. To send a check or money order, please make it out to Dale Wynn Davidson Ministries and mail it to 9030 West Sahara Avenue, Suite 255, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. To suggest a guest to appear on the show or any other suggestions or questions, write to Dale at dalewdavidson@yahoo.com or call him at 702-480-3989.